enjoy a tasty cocktail and tasty conversation. Be sure to reach out to the boys on Twitter at the Recipe Boys, boys being spelled B-O-Y-Z. And check this episode's description for more information. Now pour yourself a drink, and cheers to you for listening.
Holy shit, we're rolling.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to The Recipe Boys. I'm one of your hosts, Max.
I'm Lex.
I'm Taylor.
And we are a podcast about cocktails and good stories, movies, stuff like that.
Yeah, having a good time.
Oh, yeah, we're
Pop
having
culture.
a good time. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Smart.
There's a song in my head.
Really?
Yeah.
What song?
I think we're alone now.
Doesn't which version?
All of them.
Okay.
Is it one of those songs you choose for karaoke and your friends would not know any of the words?
Oh, like that one time. Oof.
Oh God. No, I just think it's weird. You know, we're here, we're in Manhattan. Well, we're in Brooklyn, and we're alone. It's just the three of us.
It is just the three of us. Yeah, back to basics.
But yeah, we just got off 2 episodes of guests, which was a lot of fun.
So yeah, no, it was great to have guests on the last 2 episodes. We'll definitely have more. A lot of great feedback on that. And but we're excited that it's the three of us again.
Yep.
Yeah. Back to the basics.
So speaking of balling on a budget, back to basics. I figured let's do a really easy cocktail. Anyone can make it home. Let's do something that anyone could make. The Cuba Libre.
The Cuba Libre.
And I have a great joke for it.
Okay.
So I was trying to teach a younger friend of mine who's may or may not be above drinking age how to make a Cuba Libre. And he goes, "What does that mean?" I go, "You don't know what Cuba Libre means?" And he goes, "No." And so his older cousin walks in, digging through the cooler for a fresh beer. And he just goes, "Cuba Libre. That means rum and Coke."
I mean, it, like, yeah, in practice, yeah.
Yeah, but he thought that's what it literally meant.
That
in
actually
Spanish.
meant
Yes.
that? Okay.
Yes.
I thought he was making a joke there.
So this is the part
You set me
where
up
you
for
guys
the joke.
laugh.
I know, but it was because I thought, never
Yeah,
mind.
you thought what he thought.
I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
it
sorry.
makes sense.
I laughed. I smiled.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't go, ha!
Yeah.
I just
No,
like
but-
a button I turn on.
No, come on.
Is that better?
No, it's enough. I just think it's hysterical. Obviously, the Cuba Libre means free Cuba.
Oh, free. Okay, yeah.
Free Cuba.
Okay.
It was a
I knew Libre.
It was a common toast when Cuba was at war. So, you know, in the spirit of like a free and unfettered Cuba, let's
Oh, yeah. Cheers.
cheers, guys. It's not bad. Not my favorite.
I love it.
You love it?
Yeah, I really do. I think
Great.
it's great because it's you got a lot of lime in there, and I'm a huge lime fan.
No, that's really good. Like a typical like rum and Coke I get at a bar, that's not what it tastes like at all.
Well, it tastes like a lot more Coke, right?
Well,
It's like more Coke and way less lime.
I only put a half ounce of lime, which I think might have been too much.
Well, generally when they do like a rum and Coke, I feel like at a bar they're going to give you Bacardi and Coca Cola from the gun, and then throw a lime in there. So
Or if you're in
This is
college,
way
it's-
different.
It's just rum and Coke. It's nothing else.
yeah, they don't have limes
Yeah.
in college.
No one's cutting limes in the dorm room.
It's amazing you don't get scurvy in college.
There was a bar in downtown Columbia where I went to school. It's not there anymore. I don't think it was called Poorhouse, and it was just like
Very original name.
I was going to say every college in the world
the thing
has
is
a
like
poorhouse.
you could go downtown with $10 in your pocket and get wasted.
Oh, yeah.
Because
LITs.
no, even little spirit drinks were $1 a piece.
Wow.
Because they would just rum and Coke, blah, like that was it.
$3
The thing is,
LITs.
Yeah.
Fuck you up.
Dude, we'd never paid more than $2 for a beer or anything. But balling on a budget back then. But also like Poorhouse.
Just like now.
For some reason in Poorhouse, the the floor would always get like wet somehow because there's like a trough piss thing in the guys thing.
No way.
It had a drain, but it was just like a trough,
Yeah, but the
Everybody's-
floor in the bathroom or the floor in the bar?
everything. It would just get wet somehow.
It wouldn't be from people spilling drinks?
All of it at once.
I'm sure there's
Not
a
just moisture and
combination.
sweat?
I think it's a combination of everything because it's really hot down there, and then it's a downtown college place. It's like everybody's just fucked.
So no open-toed shoes. Try to avoid that at least.
Thong sandals are okay.
Yeah.
So to tell you guys what's in this, I feel like we've been getting a little lax with that. It's just 2 ounces of Bacardi. It's a half ounce of lime juice, and you top with Coca Cola. We have bottled Coca Cola. Interestingly enough, I was going to make it differently, but if you do some research, Bacardi and Coke, two of the biggest, beverage companies in the world, both claim that it's not truly a Cuba Libre if it doesn't include Coca Cola and Bacardi. Bacardi superior, but I think that's really egregious because I'm sure when this is invented, one, Coca Cola wasn't in distribution because Coca Cola didn't get distributed to Cuba and Puerto Rico till 1930, and I'm sure it's probably Havana Club.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that, like whether or not, like what kind of cola was it in the original Cuba Libre, but it sounds like maybe we don't have an exact answer on that.
Well, no, it would have been like a cane sugar syrup,
Right.
something more along of what I'm going to make you later.
Yeah.
What Bacardi say you used?
I use Bacardi 8 because
Okay.
I actually don't have Bacardi Silver anymore because we drank it during our mojito episode. Mm-hmm. I wasn't going to get another bottle. Plus, I think Bacardi 8's is smoother.
Mm-hmm. It's nice.
If I'm going to recommend a drink, or if we're going to recommend a liquor every week, I'd rather people make their Cuba Libres with Bacardi 8. Use less Coke.
Right.
It'll taste better. That's what we're getting here.
And it's great.
Yeah.
What do you go through most of liquor?
Whiskey.
Whiskey?
At home?
Yeah.
Beer.
Probably whiskey.
Well, you go through the beer the most?
Well, think about it. If I buy 4 cases of beer in a month, I still have no beer in my fridge.
Yeah, but like what liquor do you run out the quickest? Like,
Obviously, it's either rum or gin.
yeah, I always run out of gin real quick. Yeah. Or
Yeah.
I get stuck on one drink for a little while. I just keep remaking it.
Oh, yeah, what are you making right now?
Oh, I'm making a...
Or should you tell people? Or is that a secret?
We can talk about it.
Cool.
Because we're going to do it on another
Hype
episode.
it. Hype it.
Hype it up.
It is a very, very special now holiday drink, I guess, but it's an Applejack Old Fashioned. And it is delicious.
Yeah.
And I just like, Lex had bought me some Applejack at one point. Very nice gift. And I'm making very good use of it now.
Excellent.
But I'm a creature of habit. So like I'll make an Applejack cocktail 2 a night next like 3 nights, And I'll run out of Applejack real quick. But luckily there's a place we know that has really special liquors we can buy. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Applejack ain't expensive either.
No,
$23
Yeah, it's one of
most.
those when you go through. But the Applejack Old Fashioned, it just tastes like a Christmas in a cup. There's not a lot of ingredients in it, so you're not really getting anything watered down. It's boozy, but it just tastes really good. Mm-hmm. It's almost like an old fashioned you would want to give to your female companion or just one of your companions that likes sweeter drinks.
So they get the Applejack, you get the real stuff.
I mean, I'd still drink it.
They get the unleaded, you get the leaded.
Yeah.
So yeah, do you guys want to hear anything more about the Cuba Libre?
I had more questions, actually.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So I assume then, if Coca-Cola wasn't the original beverage used in the Cuba Libre, that maybe, like you said, cane sugar was the origin. And then it was, it's like the Holy Trinity there. You got the alcohol, you got the sweet, and you've got the sour from the lime.
Yeah.
So
Sugar,
classic drink.
sugar, rum, and citrus, like the perfect daiquiri.
Right.
But yeah, it was cane sugar. Sometimes it was like a cola syrup, had other spices in it. Like a cinnamon, nutmeg. Anise seed was big back then. Things like cola nut. That's why it got its name, is cola nut. Obviously, they had cocaine in there. But no, I think that they used whatever light, smooth rum they could use. People say in the 1930s, Coca-Cola became the preferred beverage. Again, a lot of this is hearsay because it's the 1900s, early 1900s. But they say Coca-Cola was used very often because there wasn't plentiful quality rum. And Coca-Cola could make do with that.
Yeah. Which I think part of the reason why Jack and Cokes are so popular, not to shit on Jack Daniels, but not the fanciest whiskey.
No. And also not something that you'd want to have more than one straight. Like I could drink a Jack straight, but do I want to?
That depends on how much you want to drink.
But I promise you, when we're done recording, we'll want Bacardi 8 straight.
Yeah.
It is very good by itself.
Yeah.
Probably the best.
We're gonna try that after
probably
this.
the best Bacardi. Probably the best dark Bacardi they have on market. Is Bacardi 8, even more than the Bacardi 8 Grand Reserva.
This drink's actually like low key blowing my mind, to be honest with you.
Why is that?
Because like I said before, in college I drank stuff, rum and cokes, but a rum and coke was literally just rum and coke, so it didn't
Right.
really taste that good.
It doesn't.
It just did its job,
Yeah.
And I've never actually had one like this ever. So I'm like, this is a really, really pleasant drink.
Yeah.
Like, it's really good.
Yeah.
I think if I half the lime, I think it'd still be better.
I like it with how much lime it has.
I like the lime because I don't necessarily love the combination of that. What is it that you said, like tar kind of flavor to the Bacardi?
Oh, ethanol.
Ethanol-y.
Yeah, but I would say Bacardi 8's, like if you pick up that bottle,
Well,
and
no,
smell
yeah,
it's
that
very
one,
smooth.
that one. But like your off the shelf regular Bacardi Silver, whatever.
Yeah, it's got
it is.
that nail polish smell.
That plus Coca Cola, I never felt was that good of a combination. That's why I was a Jack and Coke kind of guy.
Yeah, I think.
But
in reality, actually, the more I think about it, again, I get on my soapbox about rum and how it's being mistreated by the American consumers. But I think Bacardi's to blame.
he actually has a soapbox, which is really weird.
It's so weird.
Are millennials ruining rum?
Tonight at 11.
No, I think it's Bacardi. It's not millennials. Bacardi is a volume game. I found this out because I made friends with the local liquor store owner next to my office, and he was telling me that Bacardi, to get a box of Bacardi, you need to order like 8 boxes. So if you have a rum budget, and because you know you're only going to go through so much rum, or people only ask you for so much rum, you can blow it all on Bacardi. You know, so you're going to only have Bacardi, Captain Morgan, maybe Kraken, if you're lucky, Mount Gay, right? So those are the guys you're going to see in America. Whereas, like, I was reading some of the comments on Cuba Libre videos on YouTube, and they were saying, interesting, you make this with Bacardi. We'd use Havana Club in Germany, in France, in Sweden, in Denmark, you know, because in America, Havana Club's illegal or it's embargoed.
Right.
Right, because it's Cuba. But everywhere else, Havana Club would be your rum and coke guy. And I feel like because Bacardi Silver is like the best of the worst, people assume that it's the best of the best. Mm-hmm. You know, you've had the Florida Cana now. You've had the Bacardi Heritage Collection. You've had the Grand Reserva Silver, which I could give you again if you'd like. You know, there are better clear rums out there. Plantation 3-Star,
Yeah.
your favorite.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Malibu.
Well, yeah.
Malibu.
Yeah, Malibu.
Oh, you mean Jamaican Overproof?
yeah.
It's the same thing.
It's basically the same thing.
Exact
God,
identical booze.
Technically, Jamaican Overproof is clear. If you're
Yeah.
going to go by clear
That
rum.
argument would
Alright.
work in like school.
Yeah.
It's basically the same thing, man.
It's clear and it contains rum.
Well, it's
There
like
you go.
when I went to the liquor store, one liquor store, I was asking for Cava, which is Spanish wine. He handed me champagne. And I was like, oh, is this Cava? He's like, no, but it's still champagne. It's still sparkling wine. I'm like, this is French. I'm looking for something Spanish. He goes, what does it matter? And I'm like, making Cuba Libres, topping with the sparkling wine. Makes sense that if it's a Cuba Libre, it should have Spanish wine. Because it's super, super dry. So, new drink, Terminator time?
right.
I'll be back.
Pass.
Holy shit, we're rolling.
Post drink.
Okay, so we have a new drink in front of us.
Yes. We're very excited about this because, well,
It
why don't you
smells
talk about
familiar, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Brings back memories.
Does smell good.
So this is the Cuba Libre re-release, made famous from Underdog in Wall Street, where we used to spend many a Friday night.
Stone Street.
Sorry, Stone Street. You're right.
Yes.
In the financial district of New York City in Manhattan.
Cobblestones.
Yeah, their whole thing was for a while, for like 2-year stint, they had classic cocktails that they did kind of in a very premium way, and then they did it in kind of an offbeat, really experimental way, which was their re-release,
Yeah.
almost like a remix. And this drink captured my heart. I've been chasing after it. It's my White Rabbit. I've never had it this way. I got all the ingredients yesterday. I'm waiting for you guys to make it. Let's try it,
Okay.
and then I'll tell you guys what's in it.
Excited.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm so fucking thrilled.
That's good. I miss the Underdog.
Yeah.
It's not what it was anymore.
No.
So
It tastes
so different.
It tastes as close as I could think to it.
Yeah. It was always your drink. So I don't remember it quite as well as you do, but as soon as I took a sip though, I could remember it. And it's amazing because I've had so many more drinks since then, you know, like,
It's a very memorable drink.
but it is memorable. Yeah.
I feel like our words are not going to do this fucking thing justice.
Well, why don't you start with what's in it?
Okay. So what's in it in the original, I'm going to tell you guys what's in it originally. I'll tell you what I did. Originally, it's 1.5 ounces of Afro Head 7-year rum. And that's a rum that I think is becoming increasingly hard to find. I called every bar that they say they distribute to on their website and every liquor store, and no one's had it in years. So I'm wondering if they went out of business or they just don't distribute to the U.S. anymore. I even had a liquor store guy who knew someone from Park Street that distributes Afro Head, and no one's gotten back to him in 2 weeks of calling.
So if you're listening and you know where to find Afrohead,
Oh, yeah, please tweet me. It's at Lexstatic_. on Twitter, or just call me. If you need to figure out how to call me, just comment in the Recipe Boys podcast saying I have Afro Head rum.
Yeah.
I will literally freak out. But yeah, so what I'd used instead was a gift I got for my birthday, which is Bank 7. It's a blend of 7 different rums, expertly crafted. Well, not 7 different rums, 7 different origins. I'm not going to list them on here. It's just crazy. The bottle tells you them all. It's just a crazy rum. It's super complex. It's got the caramel, honey, vanilla notes that Afrohead claims it has. That with 3/4 ounce of my house-made cola syrup, which I made a week ago. And I've told you guys about that. It's a cola syrup. It's a lot of sugar, light and dark sugar. It's got vanilla, anise, actually vanilla pod, like vanilla pod, fresh vanilla, anise, coriander, clove, cinnamon, nutmeg, citrus, like rind, like from lemons and limes and oranges, and then water. You boil it all together, you strain it, and it becomes a syrup. It is absolutely delicious. Oh, and cola nut, toasted cola nut, which is really hard to find. I recommend if you're going to do it at home, you don't need cola nut. It doesn't really change anything. It gives a little bit of a bubblegum flavor. When it's toasted, it gets a little bit like that medicine-y kind of flavor. But if you don't love that like cola, like Jamaican cola flavor, nix it. And then after that, 1/2 ounce lime juice, 1/4 ounce of amaro meletti, which is an orange amaro. Very sweet, very bitter, really complicated. Love it. Instant new favorite. Just had it for this drink. And then you top it with Cava, which is a Spanish sparkling wine. I'm going to make it after the podcast with Prosecco as well, because I'm sure I'm going to run out of this Cava. I don't think it matters. I think you just need a really dry Spanish or Italian wine.
Yeah. And I will say that going from one drink to the other, they're very different. But I do see the inspiration there.
I think they're both pretty good. This tastes more like a cocktail.
Yeah.
The Cuba Libre just tastes like a fun drink.
Yeah.
You know.
You're really descriptive. You really hit the nail on the head there.
Well, if you live in New York City, you go to a cocktail bar, it feels very cocktail bar. It's like kind of quiet, subtle music playing. It's not super loud. You can have a conversation with your friends, and then like you expect to order an $18 drink in a very small glass. Versus going to, let's say we're at Universal and they serve a whole cocktail in a whole Collins glass. And it's like,
or in a hurricane glass, and it's massive, and it's got 1/2 ounce of liquor in it.
I was going to say it contains the same amount of liquor or less.
Mostly juice.
Yeah. And, you get a drink that takes a little bit to drink because there's more quantity. So that's like the Cuba Libre. So it's kind of like that kind of drink you get at a place, a resort. But the way that Lex makes them is like the bartender knows you. And he's going to give you a good pour.
This is
like,
much more refined. Like there's more to it. Absolutely.
So Terminator 1.
Perfect film.
It's
but
also
Jaws with robots.
But also,
it's
Talk about that.
Jason with robots.
It's
Jason.
also,
It's Jaws.
Wait. Jason had a time travel in it. Friday the 13th had time travel.
You don't remember when?
Neither did Jaws.
Yeah.
Except the shark came back from the future.
It's the future shark.
Okay, so Terminator 1. I have an interesting thought after seeing it again. It's kind of an independent film. Like it comes off like a student film.
Is that 2019 speaking or actual?
No. Mostly in the performances, the editing, the pacing. Like, it feels very dated. Like
you're right.
I understand that it's the plot and the execution of said plot is very impactful. There's a lot of really good intuition there. But to me, that's what I'm saying. It feels like a student film where it's all intuition, not so much execution. Like perfect intuition.
You're right. It's like some of the actors were reading their lines in the movie, and it sounds like a student reading.
Yeah,
the
like
lines.
Kyle Reese was not like, I love that actor. Love him so much. Not given the best performance of his life. The plot has some holes in it, and then also him and Sarah Connor get together really quickly for me.
I love you.
Yeah, that was weird. That was weird. Like that's the thing. That's the scene when he goes like, "I've always loved you. I've never slept with any girl, even though like people fucking in holes in the middle of the ground is probably the only good thing you do in your future."
I was saying, like, you're not fucking in the future, man. In this world.
What else can you do? Like
exactly.
You don't have fucking. You have no ice cream. There's no Wi-Fi. Like, what are you doing?
I'm just surviving.
Yeah.
I saw one picture of you and I love you forever.
Yeah. I clean my gun real good when I look at pictures of you.
That's actually a good point, though, is that he did have a little photo of her.
Yeah.
And by having that little photo, that might have been his only,
He's never
material when he's in the home.
No, he
You said
saw
it- no,
girls.
Lex,
and he's a good-looking man. He can do what he
Lex,
wants.
but
Yeah.
you said what,
even without society
Look.
telling him what's a good-looking man, he looks good.
No, Lex, you said it yourself. They don't have the internet, have nothing of that. So this picture of her is effectively porn.
No, I know.
Also,
I get,
she's not covered in like fucking bruises and
I
broken
get-
bones.
I
and
get the
covered
metaphor.
In
Oh
dirt
yeah,
and
when
shit.
he walks by.
I get the metaphor, but if I'm a really, really fucking hot soldier hero, right, and best friends with the savior of the human race, John Connor, right?
You're not getting laid.
And there's other girls who are probably like, hey, I want to put your dick in my mouth. I mean, I don't care that we all have syphilis because it's the future and there's no medical, bills or whatever. Like I would do that over.
That's why he didn't send. That's why John Connor didn't send one of you back to fuck his mom
But guess
in
what?
the past
But it's a
and
loop.
be his
It's
dad.
a loop. He sent him back because he knew it's his dad.
He didn't send you.
She says it on the recorder. She says it that because she said maybe him knowing would promise that he would send him back.
But if she had syphilis, and then obviously the whole thing wouldn't have worked out anyway. So
You can cure syphilis in 1984.
You couldn't maybe in the future. Maybe syphilis drugs are a little hard to come by.
I mean,
Post Judgment Day, you're
I
not
mean,
going to a CVS.
photos of women, to Max's point, are probably really hard to come by, but women are not hard to come by.
But they're probably all fucking covered in like human genocide dust and shit. His sex life is the part that you had the problem with is an interesting thing.
That's what Lex is
Well,
thinking.
you know
about.
the
very
thing is,
much like an
He's
insight
like,
into
I
Lex's
love you,
mind.
Sarah Connor, and Lex is like, his sex life sucks.
Like, what a loser. No, but seriously, I was thinking to myself, like sci-fi crap that doesn't make any sense, I forgive because it makes the movie entertaining. Him being a virgin and professing his love to Sarah Connor in one rant, then getting up and going, I shouldn't have said that. To me, is a little hard to
If
believe.
he was a virgin, he
because
was-
I'm a human. It's like CGI, right? A CGI tree won't trip any wires, but a CGI human face will because I know the human experience, and that didn't feel human to me.
I'm going to call it right now. So he was portrayed as a virgin, but when he has sex with Sarah Connor, that was no virgin. Dude will say whatever he has to say to get laid as quick as possible. He was too smooth, man. Like the way he held her with her back.
Men always lie.
He knew what he was doing.
Men are dogs.
You remember your first? You remember your first time?
Yeah, it's my first time, baby.
It was awkward and like you're like, I'm not sure. You were asking if this is okay the whole time. But the way he was flexing while he was getting her on top.
But that's a great fucking joke.
Yeah.
That was fucking.
But if you think
didn't see the movie yesterday, so like it doesn't feel as raw to you. Raw pun intended.
First of all, the fact that you both are fucking harping on this is like, obviously you guys need to go to therapy. Like there's something clearly wrong with both of you that this is what you're thinking about.
But think about it though. Like he's not a virgin. Look at that
No.
dude.
No, he's not.
Dude's laying pipe right
Yeah,
now.
he's got pipe laying abs.
But I will say to
Yeah.
your question, to your point of
He's
saying
laying
like,
plastique.
my point to your point of saying that it's like, how was my first time? I was gonna say it was wonderful because I watched how Kyle Reese did it, and I was just like, this man knows what's up. Obviously, he's doing great. I just do it like whatever Kyle Reese did.
So you had
Speaking of
you had
first times-
a picture of her and you convinced her as well.
I've been looking at this picture of you forever, and your son tells me all about you. Now I want to fuck you. Like,
I was young when I saw Terminator 1. Like I was like 4. I was like 6 or 7 years old.
So I saw Terminator 2 first as a kid.
Nah, travesty. Absolute
When did
travesty.
it come out in like what 1991,
well, it's certainly
2?
Yeah, it makes I think I may have also. I can't remember at this point. But actually, you know what I do remember as a kid was the fact that I got the two movies confused because I was young enough, and they were both like playing on TV or my parents were watching them or something like that. And I was just like, oh wait, he was a bad guy, I thought, and like it didn't really all make sense to me until later on. I realized that there were two different movies.
Yeah.
And then when I got to an older thing, I remember watching Terminator all the way through, and I was like, "Fuck, Arnie's scary." Like this is
this is adult.
That's intense. Yeah.
I will say, to its credit, Terminator 1 is ruthless in its examination of humankind. Like even in 1984, like we were very, like in a lot of 80s movies, we tend to be very pristine until we're not. Like 80s were very idyllic or they're very, dystopian. And even 1984 was dystopian. Kyle Reese gets his clothes off a homeless person.
But that was L.A. in 1984, man.
Yeah, I know.
That's
It was
what
fucking dystopian.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
I mean,
Still
it's
kind of is.
It's a viewpoint of it. All the cops are telling each other to go fuck themselves, regularly. It's very,
Yeah, yeah.
very. It was gritty before gritty, and I really enjoyed it. I think it's a really good movie.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to what you talked about last week, where horror movies are always on the fringe. They're always that outsider perspective, and I think that that's probably why. Like one of the things that really stuck into my mind with that movie, NT2, was the fact that there's this like,
You call it T2.
yeah,
You given to the marketing.
no, you didn't call it T2. You fucking were like 1 year old when it came out, so you
was.
don't know. Okay, so the thing that was connected those two movies to me was the fact that there was this kind of analysis of like what they think of people who they think are crazy. Like there was the psychiatrist in the first movie who's basically like, I'm going to make a fucking, write a book about this guy.
Wasn't he the same
illusions.
psychiatrist in the second one?
I think so. Yeah.
It's the same guy,
Right.
Silverman.
But it's the same thing where it's like, here he is again. And it's this weird, maybe like Scientologist-y kind of, psychiatrists are secretly evil kind of thing. But there was this commentary, social wise, that is pervasive throughout both those films. Much more in the first one than in the second one.
What a year for watching famous cities in America be covered in filth and homeless people. Right? And then Back to the Future comes in the next year. It's like all clean and pristine, Hill Valley and all that shit.
What a great time for film, just in general.
84 and 85.
Just at the
Yeah.
mid 80s.
No wonder Stranger Things is doing it.
Yeah, they're just like, let's just go back.
Yeah, can we go back? Like we don't want to think about climate change. Let's go back.
Hipsterized film. Anyways, but I watched Terminator 1 again yesterday as well, and like overall, like just a very simple film. There's not a ton going on. The premise is straightforward, but like you said, it kind of feels student film-esque, where like the acting was. It was clearly the first time they'd done this. The first time they actually put this idea together, so it's more of an indie film.
Or like the scene with Sarah Connor not being able to be a good waitress. Is that telling us that she's ill-equipped to lead the future? Or is that just a funny gag?
But that was a big point in the movie. She's like, I'm not prepared for this. I'm not this person. And he's like, you become this person.
Right.
Yeah, but it's it's very dramatic.
That's why that's why they did that with her as a waitress.
I
to
get
show
it.
how-
It was exposition. It
Yeah.
was
Yeah,
trying
yeah.
to let you know, like, here's what's coming.
So rating system. How many flaming hands in the lava? How many flaming thumbs up in lava from Terminator 2 do you give it?
out of what? Flaming
Out of
hands?
5.
Out of 5?
Out of 5 flaming
I'm
hands.
not familiar with the Terminator unit that had 5 arms. I'm going to be more freeform with my interpretation of the rating system.
What is it?
I'm going to say that it is 5 T1000 arm wrappy things out of 5.
Arm wrappy things?
Yeah, he's got arm wrappy things.
What arm wrappy things?
He's got things that basically are like the spikes, but they kind of do like they go to right angle.
From the second one?
They can grab
Stay
onto
on
shit.
film. Let's call it. Did you say it's a 5? It's a 5 out of 5?
Yeah.
All right, so it's 5.
Well, you were the one that said flaming things. That's also from the
it's
second
fine. I'm
movie. You
saying-
realize
yeah,
that, right?
but you got to stick to what I'm neither doing or not
No,
doing.
I'm going to improvise. I want to free fall.
I have something we can all agree on.
I'll-
It's 5. It's 5 future versions. 5 future versions.
Future version?
Yeah, future virgins with a G.
Future version.
No. It's terrible. It's so bad.
So, can I give it halves? Is there halves in
Yeah.
this? Okay, so I give it a 3.5 out of 5.
3.5 what?
Thumbs ups in lava.
Thank you.
But that didn't happen in this film either. So like you said, don't use that from this film.
Yeah, exactly.
The thumbs
It
up
doesn't
didn't
even
happen
fucking
to the
make-
second
Your
film
whole
either.
scale is bullshit.
Yeah.
No. Okay, so what do we use from this one? We do 5 out of 5 I'll be backs.
No, 5 out of 5 fucking lunches she made in that one scene. Did you see the fucking sandwich she makes in that scene?
Oh, yeah.
It's like fucking celery, blah, and then like a huge sandwich. Like, this is a tiny 100-pound girl. Who's making this?
She's giving it to her dick laying, pipe laying,
Oh my
weirdo
God.
boyfriend.
Yeah.
That's one thing I picked out. I was like, that's a big fucking lunch in the middle of the night.
That guy did some good work while she had her headphones on.
And he's like,
clearly
this
was
man
not a
needs to recharge.
Yeah,
But,
this made me hate AirPods. It's like if I had AirPods on, Terminator would fucking kill me.
Before we finish up with Terminator, there was one big plot hole, I guess, or not a plot hole, but a reality hole that really fucked with me. So when the Terminator lost all of its flesh or had like in a scene where it's open, the robotic sounds were very loud. Zzz, 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 zzz. I'm like, you couldn't hear this shit when he had skin on? Like you didn't hear
Maybe
how
it muffled it. Maybe it was like a dampener.
He had active noise canceling skin.
Yeah, the Apple Terminator.
Because like when he first had his arm open in that one scene, you can see the little part, which is a cool scene. It's all practical,
Yeah, it's really
very
great.
cool. It's like,
Dude, those practical effects probably looked great in '84. No.
oh the
eye one?
the scene that really falls apart is the eye.
Well, because his whole face is a little.
It's all
Clay,
yeah,
yeah.
it's all like a model.
I give it.
It's a good drink, by the way.
Yeah, it's great. I give it 5 out of 5 driving a car through a police station.
Right.
I'll give it that with an I'll be back.
With an I'll be back.
Yeah. I give it a 5 out of 5 as well.
The only reason I give it a lower score is because of of T2.
I give it 5 out of 5 sarcastic sergeants, lieutenants.
Yeah. Okay.
5 out of 5 sarcastic
That's pretty good.
lieutenants. There you go.
Actually, you know what? Oh man, that's a good point. 4 out of 5.
You
Four.
Okay.
4.5 out of 5.
Discrepancy is good.
4.5 out of 5.
I give it 3.5. What the hell?
I'm gonna give it a little time travel
What do
right
you-
here.
You know what that is? What the hell?
No.
The dump truck driver.
Oh yeah, he said it twice.
He's like, what the hell?
He says it twice because they ADR'd it in. It's so weird.
What the hell?
Oh yeah, it's so weird. The guy and everyone has a cigar in their mouth. The cleaning guy had a cigar in his mouth. The dump truck. It's like if you want to show someone's poor, they put a half cigar in his mouth.
Yeah.
Like he's fucking Paulie from Rocky.
Right.
Speaking of which, I want a cigar. All right, so T2.
So one
I'm
of
only
the
calling that for you, Princess.
Yeah, one of the things that that we talked about last week and we'll re-mention, which I loved, was that people going to the theater had no idea that the movie was going to have Arnie as the good guy. That was a huge
He pushed for
twist.
that himself.
Yeah, that's what Rob was saying last weekend, which was really great. And I think that that's so cool to have been. That was like would have been such a great twist for me watching that movie.
Yeah, it's like Loki being a good guy. So T2. What are our thoughts?
So the fact that there was that twist, I think, is really cool, and I would love to have seen it that way. But change of genre. What do you think about that, guys?
I think it was necessary. Cameron's great at that.
Yeah,
You know, he did the same thing with Aliens.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's great at that. It's amazing. It's a good film.
Oh, it's incredible.
What do you say about it?
Terminator 2 set the standard for sequels, I think, in my opinion.
Interesting.
If there was a standard before it, there probably was. T2 set the new standard for how good he set the world record for the 100-meter sprint is 10 seconds up till 1991, and now it's 9 seconds.
I'm pretty sure Godfather Part 2 was both before that and considered a better sequel.
He's right, but in action films, Terminator 2 always gets cited as like.
Yeah.
So I said this before, but I have one rule for sequels, is that this sequel can stand on its own. That you don't need to see the first movie to actually buy into this experience. When I saw T2, I was too young to understand anything. It's like when you watch it a little older, you kind of get it. You get things you didn't get as a kid. But T2, you can watch it and have no problem watching it. The premise still makes sense because even in T1, when they open up with they barely give you any lore or whatever, what it's called, to talk about the story. And
They gave
what's
more than
happening.
I remembered because they flash
true.
back a lot.
Yeah, but
more
it's
than I thought.
they just open up to a guy coming in from lightning in T2, and it's all right, it sounds good. This guy's clearly not from here.
They recap it all in the mental hospital scenes. You know, everyone telling them why they're crazy was them telling the audience, which is great.
Yeah. And they had actual footage of the future war where they defeat Skynet in T2, and they didn't have that in Terminator.
They have John Connor in T2. The after the credits or the post scene thing, they show the best John Connor ever, who only doesn't have any lines. He just looks.
Well,
I think
that's
he's
the beginning. That's the beginning
Yeah,
of
the
T2.
beginning.
Oh, it's the
Yeah.
beginning. Okay, I haven't seen T2 in a while.
Okay.
T2 is good. It's good. I just personally I like a little bit more of a slow burn when it comes to one of these types of films that go introspective.
See, it's funny that we recommended so highly It Follows for you, because It Follows is very similar to Terminator in the sense that the character is essentially a Terminator. It's slowly but continuously walking towards you, and it's going to kill you. Same thing with Jason Voorhees. The same thing. It's
I'm not really
common
into the
trope in
horror
horror.
element of it. I just think the interesting thing about Terminator 1 is Kyle Reese. I was really into that character as a kid. And the second one doesn't have that. So T2. I love the fact that they think they can stop the future. I love the story of it, and the scale really explodes in T2. You know, it gets bigger. You know, her visions of Judgment Day are so visceral and impactful that I feel like you have no choice but either to be invested or you weren't paying attention.
I think that movie works well because you said they think they stopped Judgment Day. They did stop Judgment Day in that movie. That's why it's so awesome, because there's actually an alternate ending scene where they have like Sarah Connor as like an old woman, like with her grandchildren in like a beautiful city and stuff.
Yeah, well, they never let that see the light of day.
They never did, but like
that means
the
that
movie was
make sequels.
The movie was written to have an ending where they actually stopped Judgment Day. But we all know with the Terminator series, it's not how time travel works.
No, how time travel
Or it
works
doesn't work.
Whatever makes the studio more money is how time
so
travel
it's
works.
like, you know, this is one of those like series they always have to leave like a sort of ambiguous ending to continue on with the franchise.
So one of the things I wanted to say, one of the reasons why I love this movie was that the Terminator was scary. You know, he's this robot. He seems kind of indestructible. But at the back of my mind, I was always thinking like, yeah, but if I hit him with a fucking truck and then like really like, you know, like really hard, I feel like I can knock this guy out. But the T-1000 was just made out of fucking like liquid. So no matter what you did to him, he was unstoppable. And he was agile. He was fast. Like he was way scarier than the original
and
Terminator.
the actor was an inspired casting choice because Arnold, you know, he scares you with his strength. This guy felt like he was always one step ahead of you.
Yeah.
Even with just a look. Robert Patrick is a scary looking motherfucker.
Yeah, he's got that kind of fucking stare.
He's got the dad stare. When you know what you did.
Yep.
You know?
Oh god, that's such a good call.
Yep.
Yeah.
He also like, you know, when he was dressed in like a police uniform, he looks like a cop too.
Yep.
Yep. And cops suck. So-
Great callback in, I don't know if it's callback, but in Wayne's World.
Yep.
Wayne's World when he gets pulled over and
Yep.
it's him.
So I think T2 is one of the movies that is so good that there's not much to say about it besides the fact that it's good. You know?
Yeah. Fun as hell. I love the scene when they're going in the waterways in LA.
What, the tunnel?
Yeah, what is the thing called? They've got the
dam.
flood
Dam
area.
They
No,
shoot- that's where they shot Grease. That's where
The
they shot
floodways.
Transformers.
The floodways.
Is that what it's called?
It's called floodways.
Is that where they shot Grease and Transformers?
Yeah,
and
all that
everything?
shit.
Yeah.
That was a great fucking scene.
Oh, the highway scene. Yeah.
Well,
Highway
my
scene.
point
So good.
to what you said before, T2 feels like a very, very high end film. It's like a movie. The acting is,
it's like a Michael Bay film.
yeah, it's like it's on top.
Michael Bay wishes.
Because like your point of
Michael
like,
Bay's been trying. He films in that fucking dam every chance he gets. He really does.
I mean, Michael Bay, he hires great cinematographers and stuff. It always looks great.
We'd love to have you on the show.
Exactly. But like, you know, like you said, T1, it felt very student film. And I was like, that kind of rang a bell with me. You're right. It's like some of the scenes felt amateur. It wasn't that the cinematography or everything was amateur. It was like the actors just weren't super experienced and they feel like,
You could tell that the energy on set might have been felt a little
and they
amateur.
they were reading their lines like, you know, an inexperienced actor. But this is the first time they ever did this movie. The budget was probably pretty low compared to what they had for like T2 and stuff. And then like T2, it feels like a fucking movie. It has like the over the top stuff, like that huge scene in the floodway that was amazing and all that stuff. So
You know what the best part of T2 is? There's no cell phones yet. Like, if Sarah Connor or John Connor had a cell phone, a lot of the action beats in that film would be very different.
How so?
we talked about that last time where cell phones would trump most horror movies.
Yeah, that's why new horror movies are all set in the 80s.
I would talk to you about it in the next. When we talk about other films, I'll talk about how they missed an opportunity.
You're
there.
right. Because like Peele's films are like set in those times. Solve that
Do
problem.
we? Why don't we get to some closing
So
T2 thoughts?
Flaming thumbs.
T2 to me, as closing, is just the best Terminator film there is. So it's a 5 out of 5.
So the last one you give 3.5 out of 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would give 5 flaming Arnie's thumbing me up.
Because I don't think it's equal with T1. So like,
I think
it's
T-
you
I
think
think-
it's equal with T1.
I think T1 is more ambitious, and I think T1 has more mood, which I like a lot more. I'd rather a worse movie with more mood and more theming.
well,
Not a worse movie, but like a sloppier, let's just say a less refined film. Because a lot of American blockbusters today are really refined. Like the Fast and Furious franchise are refined, but they're not perfection. I think that Transformers 2 is 4.5, maybe 4. Before Flaming Oranges. It's long, it's overdrawn, and it's a little corny when you rewatch it.
Well, you said T1.
No way. Incorrect.
You said T1 is ambitious. You're correct in the sense that it was the first time it's ever been done.
Yeah.
T2 knew this works. They know it works. They have Arnold Schwarzenegger. They know it works. They know they're
Yeah,
going to make
he's a
money.
celebrity by now.
They're the Marvel movie at the time, but they know they're going to make money.
Yeah.
So they can kind of play with that and use their budget wisely. They like,
But
bring
yeah,
in a new technology.
they were restrained. They did have some restraint. Like they didn't fucking overblow themselves.
I'm sorry, but they took the villain from the first movie and made him the hero and shocked the audience seeing it at the time. I realize that you have a different experience because, you didn't see it or didn't realize that
I
at the
saw
time.
the first
but
one first.
No, but like you definitely knew that Arnie became the good guy in the second
But yeah,
one.
but thinking about like this as an adult,
I'm
seeing
saying
this,
like, you can't discredit them as not being ambitious when you discount the fact that
they were ambitious in their way.
Ambitious.
They were ambitious in their way, but I just think it's a little bit less risky what they did, and I just think that the first one was more artistic. Even if it was sloppier and rougher on the edges, I just think that's more my speed. I just really. It's like a Ghostbusters 1 versus Ghostbusters 2. It's like they made it bigger, they made it louder.
No one's gonna say that Ghostbusters 2 is better than Ghostbusters 1.
I understand.
That's
well,
the bad
I think,
example.
I mean, I guess it could be anything, production capabilities with it, but like even in T2, like with Arnold as the T1000, right?
Yes.
Like what he did in T2 was much more impressive than what they pulled off in T1.
Yeah, I know.
Like he had a fucking helicopter.
Okay, well, look,
They had
I don't need to
the-
defend it. I'm just saying it's a 4.5 or a 4 for me. I think it's a little long, overdrawn. It's full of itself.
When was the last time you
still
watched
very
it?
good though.
Yeah, it's very good. For me, 4 Flaming Arnold thumbs up is a very
Sarah
very high
Connor
marks.
wasn't a pussy in this one.
Oh no, she was doing fucking pull-ups on your grave, motherfucker. She was doing
like
pull-ups
the
as
the
days
whole
long.
fucking hospital scene. All that is so good.
Yo, it's amazing.
That's
I just
so
think,
good.
yeah, and like the
So
whole
good.
thing we were
She's
talking about the other
jacked.
day, like the fact that
Actually-
they threw the T1000 against the wall and he immediately turns around because he's just fucking
Morphs.
liquid.
That was actually just a
So
morph
cool.
effect. That was just a fade in, fade out effect. And then every studio wanted to copy that.
Just imagine in 1991 seeing the fucking T2000 melt through fucking bars.
oh yeah.
It would blow your goddamn mind.
It blew my fucking mind now. I still
Yeah,
watch it.
because,
I'm thinking it's
because
crazy.
what? Linda Hamilton. I'm gonna give this movie 4.5 Sarah Connor pull-ups.
Okay.
4.5.
Love it. That's
4.5 Sarah
Mwah.
Connor pull-ups.
That's our new
Perfect.
measurement. Sarah Connor pull-ups is very accurate.
It is.
Yeah.
It's
That should be the new measurement for all movies going forward. I'm gonna make us another round of drinks.
excellent. I love that idea.
Lex, thank you for making us another drink.
Yeah, another re-release.
Yeah, it's very good.
This one, what's different about this one?
I added a little more booze.
Okay.
Perfect.
I added a quarter ounce more rum.
So we're gonna continue on the Terminators.
Oh, I
because-
changed the cola syrup.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You
I
switched
like
to
the other
to the
colas.
one I like.
Yeah. I think the first one had better cola syrup, but I think this is the right amount of booze.
Yeah.
To me, the both cola syrups were like T1 and T2, both really, really good. But I do like one slightly more.
And Linda Hamilton somewhere doing push-ups for you.
Yeah.
She was hot in the first.
She was.
I'm trying all of them.
And speaking of hot, we're going to talk about T3, who had a hot Terminator lady.
Yeah, original.
Yeah. Okay, so that's Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines.
Not anymore.
What do you mean not anymore?
Is it still the third one?
Yeah. I mean, it's still the name of it.
Hey,
like,
we'll get to that.
yeah.
We'll get to that.
Cool.
So, a little bit of synopsis. This is the one where John Connor's like in his 20s
He's a
and
bum.
he's a bum. He's been living off the grid.
And the Terminator dresses in red.
yeah,
She's sexy.
she's a hot chick.
She shows up naked in the beginning, and they're like, "Oh!" and she kills the guy.
Yeah, and she had the long hair covering
Yeah.
her boobs.
As they always do.
Yeah, and this is the cool one. This was the one with I think kind of a cool ending. Like, despite the fact that the movie is pretty much forgettable, I thought the ending.
What was the
kinda-
ending again?
That the ending, spoiler alert, was basically that Judgment Day was always going to happen. That it wasn't something that they could really avoid, but
was
they
inevitable.
could. Yeah, they could prepare for it and things like that.
But like cell phones would have solved their problem. Hey, Dad,
Oh, yeah.
it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
What year does it take place in?
So they had cell phones.
They
Yeah.
have ones this?
Yeah.
Yeah, this was. I want to say what was the name? Well, I mean, it was contemporary to when it came out, so I want to say early 2000s.
Because like in a Google Apple like Samsung world where everyone has cell phones and there's so much information in the cloud and so much API information where like you can, I know I'm not using terms correctly, but like you can piggyback so much. Like if you're a Terminator and you can hook up to the internet, where everything is via Google Maps.
Right.
Everyone's data footprint, like from their Google accounts, their email, their data, their history, everything.
You can
right?
taste their blood and know what they
Yeah,
are.
actually you can do, yeah.
Yeah. It was 2003, by the way.
Okay, first impressions. What do you guys remember about it?
First one I saw in theaters.
So I pretty much remember this whole movie. Like it's not a terrible film.
I remember
overall.
none of it.
It's really not a terrible film. Just compared to like T2 and stuff, it doesn't follow the same. Like it's just not as exciting. It's
a weaker director.
like
you can tell
their
it's a
main
weaker-
character was this kind of sloppy John Connor, and that kind of follows the theme of the movie. It was overall kind of,
But also Claire Danes.
okay, yeah.
Claire
sure,
Danes
sure.
was the love interest.
Doesn't
Yeah, yeah.
save it. Eric Stoltz is a fucking chemistry vacuum.
What the fuck's a chemistry vacuum?
He negates all the chemistry in the fucking room. And if anyone's seen Carnival, they know what I'm talking about. This guy, he can act the shit, but no one cares about him. Like something about him, it's like you will know exactly how I'm feeling, but you're not gonna give a fuck about me.
Yeah.
It's like no chemistry whatsoever.
So they did some cool stuff in this film, but I don't think it's a terrible film.
The breast enlargement was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. I thought that the Terminator, they were like, how do we go from being, which I think they've done in every subsequent film. They're like, how do we've already did the T-1000 who can turn into anything. How do we make that crazier? And they're like, give her a gun, like in her arm.
Yeah, well, it's kind of simple. Like they have like T1 is just like the metal robot. T2 is the liquid robot. T3, let's do metal and liquid.
Yeah.
Whoa,
and then
really thinking outside
and give
the
her
box.
blue eyes.
Yeah, make her magnetic though. That'll be great.
Yeah.
No, it's a good film. It's whatever.
I wouldn't say good.
I thought it was good at the time.
I want to say like I'm very generous with movies. It was entertaining.
I'm very critical.
I just I watched it. I'll watch it once and be like, cool.
I had it on
Yeah.
DVD.
It's like cool.
I've had it on DVD. I've seen it like 4 or 5 times. I can't remember a fucking thing about it.
That's probably the most damning thing you can say about
I know,
a movie.
which is like I want to be friendly. Like I really want to. I can't tell you one fucking thing, but it's the fact that John Connor doesn't use credit cards. I can't. Oh, and he meets the girl at a fucking animal shelter.
Veterinary hospital.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Cool. I don't remember because I saw it 5 times.
I mean,
Do you remember
They're very
do you
similar,
remember
I
the
think.
cemetery scene with Arnold?
And he's got the thing on his arm. That was
Vaguely.
pretty cool.
Vaguely.
With a minigun, yeah.
That was cool.
Vaguely. It's not very memorable. It's funny because like I was watching.
I don't know, because like it seems like we remember it though.
Yeah, but I had it on DVD. Like it was in. Like I watched it a lot, and I never. Like for example, I only saw Terminator 1 a few times because my parents didn't really want me to watch it that much because they realized later after watching with me that it had sex scenes in it.
See, I don't remember the sex scenes.
Terminator 1.
Terminator 1.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and so there's a scene right before the sex scene where he comes back from the grocery store and she goes, what's for dinner? And he goes, plastique. And she goes, yummy. I never forgot that line my entire fucking life.
Because you saw boob afterward.
No, it's because I asked my father when I was watching with him, what's plastique? And he goes, a bomb. And I thought it was so fucking funny and clever. A way of showing these characters making a bomb together that for some reason it just stuck with me my entire life. Anytime I heard about a bomb scare in school, I think I was like, oh, they might be making plastique like in Terminator, And it's like Terminator 3 had all these set pieces and all these action scenes and all this money. I remember fucking nothing.
You don't remember when Arnold pulled out one of his cores and threw it out
He had
into
a
the
hydrogen
desert?
fuel cell.
And
No.
it just,
Yeah.
Nope.
Little mushroom cloud.
Nope.
Well, maybe you're not the right guy for this one. I don't know what to tell you. Like
the truck
I do
back ends a
remember
little bit.
quite a bit of this movie.
I'm just sticking to my guns here that I think it's forgettable.
Well, then when we get to the rating, I think we're gonna know where that goes. But okay, and that point, favorite scene of that movie, if you can remember any of it.
the breast enlargement. Not because of the pervy reason, because it's the only thing I remember.
I think one of the coolest scenes for me remembering was actually the scene of the chase scene where they go through the collider and she gets stuck magnetically magnetized. So
Yeah.
I just thought that was cool.
And you saw all of the liquid metal come off of her exoskeleton thing.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool, actually. Yeah. For me, I'd say that. Yeah, for me, the ending. I just thought the ending was really cool. It was a twist because I was totally expecting them to win, and because that's what the other two movies had done, and this one was basically like, nope, it's Judgment Day, and I was like, oh my god, wow, that's
you guys got to survive and fuck.
Yeah, exactly. Like stay inside of this NORAD bomb shelter. And
Who plays her later on?
who plays who?
The maiden of John Connor.
Well, let's get to the second film, the fourth film.
Real
We'll talk
quick
about
though,
that.
when she in the movie, she's like, I wouldn't like be with you if you're the last guy on Earth. Guess what?
Guess what? Yeah,
I'm one of the last ones.
I'm one of them, and she's still put out. What a liar!
yeah.
No integrity.
I wonder if that's
You know, that's the problem with Judgment Day. You know, no one can be held to their word anymore.
Yeah. Wah, wah, wah. There we go.
Yeah, that's the one. So what was next? So what's your rating for T3?
Yeah, what's the rating for T3?
Sarah Connor pull-ups out of 5.
3 out of 5.
No, you have to use something contemporary to the film.
So 3 enlarged breasts out of 5.
I was going to say, there it is. So is that half? Is it like 2 enlarged breasts and then just 1 enlarged
Yes,
breast?
exactly.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So
He pantomimed it. Yep.
yeah, that's,
It's what you're thinking. It is exactly that.
okay.
That's the best one we can make up, by the way. I'm not going to use it, but it's still good.
What are you using?
I'm going to use 2.5 hydrogen explosions.
You
Fuck,
gave it
I
2
was gonna use that.
5.
You
Yeah.
remembered it, and you still gave it less of a score than me. I gave it a 3. You gave it a 2.5.
I gave T1 3.5.
Ooh, that's tough.
And it's not as good as T1. It's not as good as T1.
Yeah.
What?
This movie is not as good as T1.
And
I give it a 2.5. I gave T1 3.5, and I gave T2 a 5.
That's amazing.
Yeah. What do you get?
What's a good thing?
I'm just
Should
very,
we negotiate a score, all 3 of us,
I'm
cumulatively?
just very nice though.
I wonder though.
I'm gonna give it a 3. Finding John Connor inside of the animal hospital's
Kennels.
kennels. Yeah, finding him in a kennel.
You're missing the point of the rating
5.
system. It needs to be something tangible, like a noun. Like an enlarged breast is a noun.
I can make it whatever the fuck I want. Don't you
That's
fucking
true.
That's
gatekeep
true. I'm on
me
the
about
other
what
side here.
stupid fucking numbers I can make.
You
this?
are an author of your own destiny.
Yeah,
You're right.
exactly.
I give
Cheers.
that statement a 2 rum and cokes out of 5.
Yeah, I give it a 2. Lex working really hard and making us delicious cocktails out of 5.
Yeah, okay. I agree. I give it 4 sips out of 5.
Yeah, there you go. Okay,
'Cause what happened next?
Terminator Salvation.
Oh, I like this one.
This is a real exciting one.
Oh, good for you.
Is this the one where Christian Bale lost his fucking shit?
Yes. Yeah.
It's become more famous than the actual movie, which is amazing.
So for our audience who doesn't know, Lex, explain what happened.
Oh, no. Do the synopsis first.
Of the movie?
Yeah. Just give it.
I can't. I don't remember.
Okay,
all.
I'll do it. So basically, this is the
remember it.
first movie that's actually set post Judgment Day, and it is ostensibly about John Connor and the Resistance, but really is following the story of this other character who's the guy from
Clash of
no,
Titans.
No. He's from he's from
He's a good actor.
Avatar, the Avatar guy.
Sam Worthington?
Is that Sam Worthington?
Yes, it's Sam Worthington.
So Sam Worthington is the protagonist basically of this film for
Who is he?
no reason.
Oh, he's a Terminator.
You find out later that he's like a hybrid
they
Terminator.
spoiled
for
it in
some
they spoiled it in the
stupid reason.
trailer.
Yeah, that was another big thing.
That's
Well,
really
they
annoying.
did kind of just write that in, like that come out of nowhere.
Right. And this is also the movie that very famously had a very different ending that the audience saw. We were talking earlier about rewrites of endings. And this is one that like famously everyone hated because, at the end you find out that John Connor isn't John Connor. He's a robot, but John Connor's brain or something like that. Like,
He is?
Yeah, it's garbage. It's
I don't
terrible.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I
No,
don't.
no, it was a controversy at the time when the movie came out.
I remember the only controversy was that Christian Bale was yelling at everybody.
Okay, so let's go into that then.
I would love to talk about that.
Let's do it.
So Christian Bale got recorded by one of the sound guys on the set freaking the fuck out on the cinematographer, the DP.
Yeah.
Yeah, the DP. And he's freaking the fuck out on the DP and the director because the DP apparently was walking through the periphery of him and distracting him during a very intense scene with Bryce Dallas Howard. And I fucking love it because in one hand, I get how intense it is to be like in that mindset. Because in your act, a lot of times, not even just method actors, but in general, you have to like make yourself and trick yourself into feeling how the character would be feeling so you can act genuinely. You like, you know, when your character's stressed, you get stressed. When your character's upset, you get upset. When your character feels shameful, you feel shameful. And he was a military leader in a hot, I think it was an Atlanta soundstage, so Hotlanta. In military gear, covered in everything, shaved head, no wife, no kids. You know, his wife and kids were they Belgian? They're in Belgium, or he's Welsh, so I don't know. Or the UK. And he's just fucking going, and here's somebody ruining his fucking scene. And he fucking loses it.
Yeah. And to piggyback on that is that this is Christian Bale. This guy was in The Machinist where he lost like 1 million pounds.
Yeah, but this is right after Batman Begins.
Well, no, my point being that he is this guy who's like, I don't know if he's a method actor, but he is
a method actor.
He's committed. He's committed.
When he was
committed to
bitching this guy, anybody can look this up online.
Well, Christian Bale freak out, and
yes, you could listen to it, and but he like stayed in character while he was freaking out.
Yeah,
on
he
this
stayed
guy.
in his American accent.
He still had his American accent,
Right.
I mean, close to it.
Yeah, which was mind blowing to me because obviously he's
Oscar-worthy.
Welsh. And I
Oscar-worthy.
think that he was, and it actually kind of sounds like we're apologizing for Christian Bale here.
Oh,
which
just
is
give,
not
just
the
give
thing.
me a fucking minute. Just don't worry.
Oh, okay. How about Max? Max is
No, I'm gonna say right here, I fucking love it. I love it. You know why? They made a fucking $200 million Terminator movie. And the only thing anyone can remember about that movie, only thing anyone can remember about that film is Christian Bale freaking out on the set of it. I fucking love that.
Yeah, not in the movie, by the way.
Not in the movie at all. I don't even know what scene they were filming.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't know, because like his job was so hard in that movie. I know, right? Yeah.
Okay,
so many fucking scenes. Oh my god, you said like 9 different lines the whole time.
It's hysterical because, I mean, and that's, I think, it's a very important part to mention
upset
also.
him looking stern.
About this movie is the fact that Christian Bale is not the main character. He's like a periphery character of this movie.
I mean, he holds his own. He does a lot.
Does he, though?
I fucking love this movie.
Okay, but
Because it takes a lot of risks.
what's your favorite John Connor scene in this movie?
John Connor showed Sam Worthington that he's a Terminator.
He was hanging up, crossed in the thing.
Oh, and he's
like,
showing
"What
him.
am I?" And he's like, "You're a Terminator." And he's like, his chest was open.
It's like, wow.
His heart was beating, though. He's like a complete perfect cross between Terminator and human. That's why he set off like, you know, the mines and stuff.
It's Helena Bonham Carter is Skynet, and it's also his shrink, and she's the one that decides that they need to put his human heart inside of a Terminator body for reasons.
I don't care. I liked this movie stopped trying to be like the same template. I liked that Kyle Reese was a teenager, even though I thought it was kind of a cop-out. I liked a lot of the decisions made in this movie. This is like a film that I walked out of and said, no one's going to have a problem with this. And I was wrong.
Yeah, right.
Well, I mean, I like that they were going out there.
Maybe if I rewatched it, I'd feel differently, but I liked it a lot.
Like they were trying to do something in the future
Yeah.
and like make a new story.
And
Yeah.
they did
I
something-
love that.
that's
I
so-
wanted to, since I watched T2, I wanted to see
the future.
the future version.
And they did it. They didn't do it like the first two movies did, where it was like nighttime and neon purple lasers going back
and
forth.
chrome bad guys.
And just human skulls and tank treads everywhere. It's like they did something interesting where it was like desaturated, really like sandy, dusky. You know, there was a lot of things going on in the daytime. It was clean and sepia tone. Like they made a lot of really artistic decisions in that film.
But-
It has a really distinct look.
and
Yeah, it
also,
does, it
how
does.
cool is it when you saw Arnold for the first time in the film?
When he comes
dope.
out of the thing.
Oh,
yeah.
dope.
Because like I did, like when you watch T1 and T2,
And it makes total sense. It makes more sense than a lot of the other movies.
but the thing is, like I didn't realize the T1000 was such an advanced robot until that movie.
800. He's a T800.
T800 until that movie.
Fuck
because
it.
They had Terminators, but they weren't as advanced. They could kill them easily.
Which I thought was really cool. That
When
like,
Arnold
you
shows
could-
up, this thing's actually a badass robot.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
really
yeah.
hard to stop.
Yeah, man.
that's okay.
It's a
All right.
robot designed by robots.
Yeah, so it made me.
It's a later generation. Yeah.
It solidified that Arnold was a later generation, and he was actually a very tough robot.
Right.
versus me thinking that like he was easy to defeat.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's the problem with like sequelitis, and like Dragon Ball Z has this problem where it's like once you've defeated a character at a certain energy level, you think that any character with a similar energy level will be easy to defeat. But there's a lot of micro variables that come into the play in there.
Because like he was actually a
Yeah.
very advanced robot.
Yeah.
And it proved it in this movie.
Like without the machine
I
press,
agree. I
Sarah
think that was
Connor
really
be dead.
cool. Yeah. Okay. My favorite part was, definitely Arnie coming out.
yeah, that's cool. That was going to be my select.
I like the Anton Yelchin Kyle Reese part with the little girl.
I fucking love that it was Anton Yelchin.
Yeah, so do I.
God, rest in peace.
Yeah, dude.
Fucking amazing.
He's probably the most impactful celebrity deaths ever happened to me. Where
It's really sad, yeah.
It's really affected me.
He was always good in everything. He wasn't an asshole. Like, I think
And he's
great.
the same age as us.
Well, maybe you.
Or the same age as me.
Yeah.
My favorite part was when Christian Bale freaked the fuck out.
Oh, good for you.
Okay, so what are we gonna give it?
I'm gonna give it 4 trash your lights audio. You want me to trash your lights?
trash your lights.
Fucking trash them.
Yeah.
So it's 4.
Yeah, you can think about it. Wait for a minute.
It's 3 raging Christian Bales.
Cool.
I'm gonna give it.
Bruce.
I'm gonna give it like 2.5. Terminator hearts being taken out of the protagonist to give to John Connor.
You're not really sticking to our metric systems on these movies, are you?
I don't
No,
need
that
to.
was valid. That was completely valid.
Fine, whatever.
So Terminator Salvation in its own right was a very ambitious film, and the fact that they tried to do the future thing, all this cool stuff, new ideas. Terminator Genesis was kind of back to the home thing, like back.
Come
to
with
basics.
me if you want to live.
Yeah, like they had like young Arnold and old Arnold, and really cool scenes. Like,
Yeah.
Young Sarah
super-
Connor, old Sarah Connor.
very, very cool scenes, like in theory, like something you'd want to see. Like, what's the Marvel new cartoon that's going to like change things that happened?
Oh, what if?
Yeah, it's like
But it doesn't. What if doesn't affect?
It's like, but this is like a Terminator what if.
Yeah.
That's a good parallel to
Right.
it.
So Lex is our straight man because he hasn't seen this movie. So Lex, do you have any questions right off the bat?
Has anyone else seen this movie besides you two?
Actually, people did, and
I think it was like 6 people.
yeah, and
We have a support group.
yeah. It is a return to form in the sense that it is a movie set prior to Judgment Day, and then the similarities end. Where this movie, so basically the plot, if we can even kind of scope the plot because it's all over the place.
It's years old now, so
You
jump in.
get some more of what it is at the end of the Resistance when they defeat Skynet, and you see Kyle Reese getting sent back in time. But right before he does, there's this moment where Skynet kind of comes back. This time played by Matthew Smith.
Doctor Who.
Doctor Who, yeah. And then you realize that not only does Kyle Reese go back, and it's supposed to be the same movie as the original, but there was another Terminator sent back when Sarah Connor was a kid. So Sarah Connor was raised by Arnie, who she calls
Pops.
Pops.
Yeah. And it's a whole new timeline.
And the whole thing makes no fucking sense.
Yeah, fuck this. Fuck this right up the
I
ass.
mean, like, at least like Avengers stuck to some timeline rules.
No,
like
there's a great moment where Arnold Schwarzenegger explains how he Kyle Reese gets sent back in time and he can remember his life in a different timeline, and it's just like it's totally possible if he had a quantum inversion and blah blah blah. And it is the most techno-babbly bullshit in the entire series.
if we use some big buzzwords, we'll explain this.
Yeah,
guys,
and-
if you boil the ocean, you can figure it out.
Boil the ocean.
Yeah.
What?
That's a consultant buzzword.
Oh, so Lex, going back to what you were saying earlier, when you're like, well, wouldn't the Terminator and Skynet basically be like Google and shit like that? That actually is the plot of this movie, which is, I think, more believable. There's this tech company, which is Cyberdyne, obviously, and they're going to release this thing called Genesis, which is going to connect all of your devices together, and it's going to be like Super Google, and that's where Skynet comes from.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because like
Sorry, I'm not a dude who told me this movie sucks.
John Connor's in this movie.
Played by who? Was dead.
Jason Clarke. He was the father in Pet Sematary, but that's like 2019. Before that, it's he was still up and coming. I think. Like because he's in First Man.
Oh, no, I'm thinking of Jason Isaacs from fucking Harry Potter.
There was like cool moments in Terminator Genesis where they did with Arnold fighting young Arnold, which is cool. It's just cool. Like
who was naked the whole time? By
exactly.
The way. Yeah, which is weird.
So we win.
And like with a 50 caliber rifle, you can definitely kill a Terminator. Apparently, so
right.
Just hit him in the right spot. And then like like how they innovated on the Terminator tech, I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah,
they went from like a liquid, Terminator to like a nanobot type Terminator. It was more advanced, and also
think the nanotech version of Iron Man, where it's like it's solid.
It's so CGI that it's not real.
But we were talking about Terminator Genesis on the scenes that it did work and like the ideas that made it work, but at the same time, like why it just doesn't work.
Yeah,
it's because it was just a random fucking idea.
It was fucking nonsense.
It didn't build on the story in any way. It didn't do anything. It just made me be like in most people in this world today, if John Connor offered them what he offered, they'd be like, all right.
Yeah, it is the most insane version of time travel I think I've ever seen in a like major motion picture. Like the most flagrant disregard for the fact that time travel makes any sense.
But I will say that the special effects with like the Terminator and how they fought was cool.
Yeah.
Like how they defeated the actual liquid Terminator that was chasing after them the whole time. Mm-hmm. That was clever. I bought into that. Like they poured
with the acid.
The
and
acid
stuff.
that was
really
cool. And like Arnold was totally fine to be in the acid.
Yeah. Okay.
That was cool. That was clever. Clearly, like they created this Sarah Connor character that was prepared and trained her whole life for this, and it was true. She knew what she was doing.
It felt like the first 2/3 to a third of the movie, actually probably close to a third of the movie, was actually kind of okay. Like, look, it was weird that they were like, okay, Sarah Connor is now actually a badass and she's saving Kyle Reese instead of the other way around. It's like, I could get behind that story.
Yeah, if you give it an even playing field.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, it's film. It's like, but I'm very generous with movies.
Right.
So.
And then they unnecessarily jumped to the future, probably because they didn't want to have to pay for a bunch of CGI cars from the 80s. And so they went to the 2000s for some reason. And they destroyed, like, Cybernet Google.
Yeah, basically. Which was interesting.
Google, Apple, Amazon.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like the actual like time portal fight scenes was cool.
Yeah,
I thought it was cool.
Time portal would be so expensive if Amazon had
And
it.
like how
Well, what's hysterical is that they make it in a fucking bunker in the beginning of the movie. And then later on, Cyberdyne Google can't make another one.
Tony Stark was able to build this in a cave.
Exactly. It's exactly the opposite of that moment where
so
like
it's very
the person should
it's
know.
very convenient for the main characters.
Right.
Yeah. So one thing that like completely blows my mind about Terminator movies, this goes for every single Terminator movie, is that the Terminator will murder a so and so NPC character in the film.
So.
Or whatever the word I need to use. I've drank a little bit, so give me a break. Anyways, but like in the first Terminator, he meets that one skateboarder and just murders him through the chest. Instantly kills him. Just one kill. But when he fights Kyle Reese or Sarah Connor, it's more of a throw them across the room first move.
Right.
Like the Terminator will murder people without a thought, no problem, but have the most difficult time murdering the main characters.
Yeah.
When they have the opportunity to do it, that's the problem.
Yeah. And I think that was actually a pretty telling scene in this movie where they wanted to be like, okay, Arnie's Terminator, which by the way is not the one from the first, second, third, or fourth movie. This is a completely new Terminator Arnie character. And yet he's got all this empathy for humanity. And he's like, I can't kill my Sarah. And you're just like, yeah.
He's got the new firmware. So
right.
It's like,
And I love the resolution to that scene is that Kyle Reese has no problem killing Sarah. And will try to do that. And that's why they save the day. It's like, yeah.
But yeah, Terminators can kill easily, but I know it's convenient for the plot that they throw them across the room. It just bothers me.
But I like that we're kind of on the same page here. Where this is probably the weakest link in the chain. Favorite scene
From Genesis?
from Genesis.
I don't want to say like some dumb fight scene, but like the triple punch where he uses his body like boom, 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 boom. You know,
took mine.
that was cool, right? That was cool.
If there's one thing I can say that really is kind of neat about it is the CGI is really on point.
So that's what I liked. Like, you know, T2, T1, they actually like, you know, had the idea. The T1 is just the robot Terminator. T2 is the liquid Terminator. T3 is a combination of liquid and robot. But this one, they actually tried to like make a new version of a Terminator.
Yeah.
It was something new that was not original. And like they cleverly like healed Arnold at the end with T2 technology.
Yeah.
Where you like liquid his body back up, which is very convenient, but also kind of like, all right, I'll buy that. That's fine. Yeah.
So two things I want to say. One, that's my favorite scene in the movie because I hated it so much. It's so stupid. Because they do a good Chekhov's gun in an earlier scene where they're walking by the early version of the liquid metal, and they ask Arnie about it, and he's just like, it's early stages, it won't work without a chip. And you're like, okay, so a chip is going to go into that thing. And then sure enough, later on, they throw his fucking carcass in there.
Exactly.
And he becomes a T-1000 unit. And I love the fact that he basically just kind of explains it away really quickly. Like, I got upgraded. And it's just like, oh my God.
That's okay.
All right, fine. Why not? Yeah. So my other thing is that I would say that this was the first time that I really felt they did something actually kind of cool with the upgraded robot. Like, it was kind of scary, and like as much as T-1000 was frightening, this guy was equally another level beyond where I was just like,
he
I don't
felt
even know
like a
what to think.
threat.
Yeah. The only thing is that they basically said magnets can stop him, and I was just like, yeah.
You think that
I got magnets. They punched him with
Cybernet, what's it called?
Cyberdyne system or
Skynet would think around magnets.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Just use aluminum or something.
Yeah.
I mean, overall, to be honest with you, like Terminator Genesis was entertaining.
Yeah.
I watched it. I thought it was neat. At this point with the Terminator movies, from what they did with the latest release, it's completely different, but they were just kind of making up stories, which is fine. In some cases it's fine. I think Terminator should have a pass and be fine.
We didn't mention the fact that this was the second Terminator franchise to contain a Game of Thrones character.
Oh yeah, Khaleesi.
Khaleesi is Sarah Connor in this. And actually, I thought she was a pretty good choice because she kind of looks a little bit like
Linda Hamilton.
Linda Hamilton, right.
So in the face, maybe, but like as body style, completely different.
She does not look as intimidating as Sarah Connor does in T2.
No. So Emilia Clarke, she's amazing. Watching her in interviews is like a nice thing. She's always very pleasant and seems like an awesome person. But like, she doesn't. I think that like she landed this role off of her fame from Game of Thrones, and not that she would be like a super intimidating person on camera.
Here's my inverse to that, which goes along with it, but is a little different in the sense that I think that she accepted this role despite the fact that the script was awful. She's like, well, this is a great franchise.
I should do something different.
I should do something.
Yeah, okay.
And, for all of its problems, I would say that it's really jarring to see a film in which the actor outacts the script that they were given.
Right.
And the people that they were working with. And I would say
she did this in that film.
I think so. Like, there were plenty of scenes where she gets kind of emotional. It's like, that's believable.
Oh no, she's a wonderful actress. She's awesome. Like, she's the biggest name in that film by far. Besides Arnold.
Before Arnie.
This is a situation where I feel like Marvel has kind of cracked the code on this, because Emilia Clarke was given subpar material and she's in a role maybe she wasn't the perfect fit for. Like, she really wasn't. There's, Sarah Connor needs to be a little bit rough around the edges if not for the first episode, but for the sequels and stuff, where she becomes more rugged and more, decisive. Like, think about like Sarah Connor pull-ups are kind of a meme. Like we
But she
made
was
joke about
perfect
it.
for that role. Like her pull-ups and like her muscularity,
But
like
I'm
the
saying,
way she was built.
you saying Emilia Clarke was perfect for that?
No. What's her
So
face?
Marvel is very good at knowing who's right for their roles
In a physicality.
in
Right?
a physicality and in a perception
That's a big part
world.
of it, though.
Right.
Because like, as soon as you want to cast like a Sarah Connor character, you want to have an actress who can like.
Fucking A, sorry to interrupt, but there's one thing I just realized is that there are 2 Game of Thrones characters, and they both played Sarah Connor.
Yes, Lena Headey and Emilia Clarke.
Yeah. I was thinking they were both in the movies, but they are the
Lena
same
Headey.
character.
Lena Headey is an amazing Sarah Connor.
In the Sarah Connor
Yeah,
Chronicles.
from what I know for the TV show, she's way cooler Sarah Connor than Emilia
Yeah, but
Clarke.
also she's like perfect.
Yeah.
She looks it, she acts it, she has the attitude. Like Emilia Clarke is a little bit too doe-eyed for that.
Just for the audience, there was a TV show on Fox, Sarah Connor Chronicles, and
Good
Lena
show.
Headey, Cersei, was Sarah Connor. And yeah, I think we're all in agreement here. Maybe we should do a vote on that after we do the vote on this.
It's pretty clear.
Incredible.
I'm just saying Marvel did better brand management of their characters, where you casted a character who wouldn't look stupid being their character.
Right.
And like Marvel, like you can't name one character who like doesn't fit the glove of who the character should be.
I mean, at least Arnold stuck with it the whole
Like
time.
maybe Captain Marvel is the closest to like someone
that's
who,
a really good question.
maybe Captain Marvel's the only one who you could say like, oh, maybe they could be better casted, but like you can't pick anyone else.
I don't know.
Well,
I really like
that's
Captain
also
Marvel.
super subjective because you don't actually know if your selection would have been great unless they actually performed in the film.
And
Yeah.
and the script
You don't have enough-
fit that
Right.
perception.
you
of the
don't
character.
have enough material to say that they would have been better.
Let's close out on Genesis and give it. I'm gonna give it one
Come with me if you want to live.
Khaleesi. Come with me if you want to live. One Khaleesi. Come with me if you want to live.
I'm going to give it a 2 melt your Terminator with acids.
Oh yeah, that's a good scene.
It's as my scores go, it is the lowest. Just letting you know.
Yeah,
No worries.
maybe I'll give it a 1.
0.5.
Kind of gray-haired Arnie.
As I didn't see it, I'm not gonna give it any rating.
Even like, this is just me, but Arnold in most films, he's pretty pleasant. I like watching him. On
Yeah,
screen,
he's pretty good.
It doesn't matter what he does. He tries to be funny, but because of his accent and who he is, it's like, I get it. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna give it 1 upgraded Arnie at the end of the movie because that's the worst part.
Lex, you've never seen it, so you don't have
No.
So just give us a.
Would you watch it? If you watch
Okay,
it?
here's a question: would you watch it based on what we're saying?
If this new movie makes it inferior, then no.
Oh, the new movie apparently is gonna be great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
apparently. That's what they
the
all say.
trailer looked okay because it had to come with me if you want to live.
#1 movie in America.
But I'm over it.
Yeah.
I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed.
Do we want to do closing thoughts on the series?
Terminator is a franchise?
Yeah,
Better brand management.
better brand management. I think that's a really great point because they're all over the fucking place.
I agree with that. And also, like stick with the narrative kind of thing. But at the same time, it's like, I feel like with each narrative they try, they kind of put themselves in a corner where they have to find their way out.
Yeah,
That's the biggest problem.
none of them seem to set up the next movie well at all.
They always finish
They're done.
every time. And it's
Yep.
like, guess what? That actually didn't finish it.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you just wrote a story that, like a Marvel movie in this case,
And you have time travel. You have so much to work with.
like you could like set up things subtly where like it's kind of ambiguous, but still like a heartwarming ending. It's, it could be done.
Like you could make
It
a whole.
definitely could be done.
You could make a whole story about the wife of John Connor, the future wife of John Connor, and do it during Judgment Day.
Oh, I'm totally excited for like future movies.
Like do it during Judgment Day. You do it with like cell phones and applications and mobile phones and all this shit. And it's like she needs to survive to give him, like, if she's dead in certain scenarios in certain universes where she dies, he's not the savior.
Because, like,
and
there's-
it's like
there's-
you could have a Terminator fucking save her, and it's like She knows what she's about. She's not a die-in-the-wool like Sarah Connor from the first movie, and she understands the technology works. She understands the world works. Maybe she was born in 2020, 2018, whatever, right? And you have a whole world where you can make a movie that takes place during the fucking war.
Yeah.
And it's like they always take the easy way out.
I think that I honestly, I think you may have hit something there, because I honestly
All
think
these analogous storylines.
I think that there is an opportunity here if they really want to do it, and I don't know if they do. I don't really know who owns the Terminator franchise. It's not Disney.
It's Fox.
It's Fox. Okay. But Fox is owned by Disney. The point I was trying to make the thing that I'm trying to say is that I think you're right. And I think that if they were to open it up to a larger universe, that there's a ton of stories that I'd like to hear about. And they probably do take place mainly after Judgment Day, because beforehand it's just normal people living their lives. But I think that would be really neat to kind of see that. It's sort of like the Dawn of the Dead.
Right. But there's like, in the
Walking
TV show,
Dead.
there's like humans that are on Skynet's side.
Yeah.
There's so much
They call them the Gray.
there's so much potential. That's the problem with like Terminator. There's so much lore and ability to tell these stories that are there that they stick to these three fucking main characters the whole time, that it just kind of eventually just dies the fuck down.
Right. And I 100% agree. I think that it would be really cool if they opened it up to other narratives.
Imagine you couldn't hire Arnold. What would you do?
What would you do?
Exactly. Like, what would you try to plan out?
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't get a fucking John Connor, Sarah Connor, and the Terminator. Like, create some kind of like future where, you have the future post Judgment Day war, and you have some humans working for Skynet who inadvertently like write a T-1000 to have a certain type of code that could be turned to actually be on the good side.
Right.
It's where like a whole secret double agent kind of thing where it's like these characters. It could be cool.
Yeah,
But,
I agree. I think that might be the longevity of the series comes from the fact that we open it up to not the holy trinity of the characters, which are obviously Sarah Connors, John Connors, and the Terminator.
Yeah, because like the biggest plot hole in this entire movie is sure Skynet sends a Terminator back to kill Sarah Connor, but why didn't it just send a Terminator back to kill Sarah Connor's mom or her mom?
Well, that's what they did. They did in Genesis. Yeah,
It's like it just folds in on itself until
it's dumb
because like Terminator doesn't really follow the rules of time travel if there are any. It's like it just makes it up as it goes.
Here's my comment for a Terminator reboot. Maybe cool it with the time travel. Maybe only use a time travel once, make it much harder to do. Because if it's something that it's like, oh yeah, we're just going to time travel, we can do it in a fucking ditch with some stuff that we found around in the 1980s. And it's just like, well, then really what's the danger here?
Could you send somebody to the future to do something?
That's what they did in Genesis. It's like, why would you bother? It's like, you're going to get there eventually.
I saw Genesis and I semi-liked it, but I didn't remember that part. Like
yeah.
Going to the future.
They time traveled to the future, which is the dumbest thing.
Oh yeah, they were both naked and he's like, what's up? When he walks up onto the thing.
And that's where John Connor comes from.
Right.
Ugh.
Gross.
How dare you think about sleeping with a million?
So I think that we gave him pretty low scores, but anything about Sarah Connor Chronicles, which is a TV show starring Summer Glau.
I have not seen enough of the TV show to really have an opinion.
I saw the whole first season. I loved
Besides
it. I loved
knowing that what's her face is an amazing Sarah Connor.
Yeah. Lena Headey.
Lena Headey.
But
that's credit to her as an actress.
Incredible.
She's apparently awesome.
But perfectly cast as well.
Incredibly cast.
She had just been the queen of Thermopylae in 300. So she was like at the apex of her.
Pre-Game of Thrones life.
It's pre-Game of Thrones, but
it only went up for
300.
her. Yeah.
But like she was like at the...
Oh yeah, she was the queen in
She
300.
was the
Yeah,
perfect
right.
level of fame where this was the role that was not a step up or a step down for her. And she showed it.
Yeah.
There was no ego. She was that role.
She was great. And she's been in great.
And all the
everything
weird
she's in.
CG Terminator elements. As cool as they were. But overall, that's Terminator in a nutshell.
All a Terminator. I think we did it, guys.
Yeah, we have to see the movie. I actually do want to see the movie, which is
We'll
funny
go
enough.
tonight.
So how many flaming thumbs up would you give this podcast?
This podcast episode?
Yeah.
10 out of 5.
Let us know.
How? Yeah, exactly. That's a better question.
I'll give us a 4 out of 5 to be subjective.
You're such a critic.
I am.
And I'm sure that's what our audience wants to hear is you bad-mouthing your own podcast.
As always, everyone, thank you for listening to our podcast. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at The Recipe Boys, boys being spelled B-O-Y-Z. This is Max, Lex, and Taylor around the room. And today we talked about the Terminator.
We'll be back.
The Recipe Boys will return.
So, guys, let us know what you think. If we missed anything,
Let us know your favorite Terminator movie between 1 and 2. All other answers are unacceptable.
Lex is right. Let us know your favorite Terminator movie between 1 and 2.
All other answers are unacceptable. Let us know in the comments. We'll be back.
Yeah. Tweet us your answers and we'll respond. And we'll catch you on the next episode. So pour yourself a drink and cheers to you for listening.
Cheers.
That's my favorite. Cheers. Have a good one.